But meanwhile, someone we know well on this program has picked up a gong. Paterson is the former head of ANSTO, that's Australia's Nuclear Science and Technology Organisation. I caught up with him and I started with congratulations, of course.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise because I think one of my colleagues from back in the day must have put me forward. I hadn't sort of done anything, and then suddenly they contacted me about a week ago. Yeah.
Well, you're an immigrant to this country, so you're part of our immigration success story. Tell us about how you found Australia, what sort of a life you've built here, what this country means to you.
Well, actually, I was recruited by Ziggy Switkowski to come to run ANSTO. So I hadn't intended coming to Australia. I was doing another job. And one day I was driving home and I got a phone call, picked it up, and it was Ziggy inviting me to think about coming to Australia. And then I went through the recruitment process and got the job. So it was really a surprise in many ways to leave South Africa, a country I love very much, to come to Australia, a country where I'm now a citizen, and which I love very much. So it's been an absolutely good journey. I arrived to come to lead ANSTO as the CEO, and right from day one, it's been an absolute pleasure.
You'll tell us about that. Of course, you headed up ANSTO, the Australian Nuclear Science and Technology Organisation. Obviously, your award is most related to your leadership of that organisation for a crucial period. But in the last year or more, you've been very proactive in the political debate, pushing the need for a domestic nuclear power industry. Do you see your award then as the mainstreaming of that fight? At least, at the very least, you haven't been blackballed because you've been pushing for nuclear energy.
Yeah, I think it's all of the above, as some people say. When I came to Australia, I was, as a government person employed by the government, I was ordered to show restraint in talking about nuclear power. But I said I would show restraint in respect of Australia's ban. But if asked about the ban, I would say, as I did in South Africa with the many bans we had, that I think the bans are not good things. And I said that many times, even while I was the CEO of ANSTO. None of them ever got onto the media. But, as soon as I was free from the restraint of being the CEO of ANSTO, I've worked with people like Will Shackle, who runs Nuclear for Australia, of which I'm the chair. He is a remarkable young man who is promoting nuclear. But while I was at ANSTO, my focus was on nuclear medicine. And of course, every Aussie benefits at least once in their lives, either by diagnosis or by treatment from nuclear medicine. So in a way, we're a nuclear country and it pumps through our veins.
I'll come back to nuclear energy in a moment, but I wanted to ask you about that. I don't think enough Australians know enough about our existing nuclear reactor, the Lucas Heights facility on the southern fringes of Sydney. It's a nuclear research and medicine, nuclear medicine reactor. Tell us how the work that it does at Lucas Heights, how that fits into global technology. Is it at the leading edge of technology? Are we keeping up with the world in those regards?
It is one of the youngest and certainly the most productive nuclear multi-purpose research reactor in the world. And by multi-purpose, it means we don't just do research, but we also provide commercial services. So all of the nuclear medicine that we produce goes to Australia and New Zealand, and in some cases to other parts of the world, to treat patients. And people don't know this, but we run this beautiful research device where nearly every research scientist, they've got about 30 instruments connected to the machine, just like we have instruments connected to the Opal reactor, where scientists, training and PhD students and so on, come to visit these facilities in Melbourne and at Lucas Heights to literally get their PhDs and their professors get papers out of it. And so we're a major force in Australian academia. But there's a subset of academia that hates nuclear power. And they're always on the news. But the academics who use these beautiful facilities to do some of the best science and research and technology development in the world, are hardly ever on the news, which I think is one of the sort of asymmetries in Australian media, which actually reminds me of apartheid South Africa, to be brutally frank. And I regularly get told not to say that publicly, but I'm saying it publicly because the kind of effect of a ban is to ban speech. And so you're absolutely right. I was restrained from talking about nuclear power for Australia when I was the CEO of ANSTO. But I think I gave my first interview on the importance of nuclear power for Australia 2 days after I left ANSTO's employment. And I've continued that campaign. It's become more visible recently because we're running out of electrons. And the one thing that I can assure the Australian public of is that our electricity will become more expensive. So I predicted when we were told it was going to get cheaper that it would become more expensive, and even more expensive than the pundits said it was going to become, and that's turned out to be true. Because you can't use intermittent energy sources like wind and solar. I knew from the day that I arrived that the plan to use wind and solar plus batteries as the basis for our eastern electricity grid is doomed to failure.
But given the rest of the world then, 80 is doubling down on nuclear energy. In fact, they're tripling. They've vowed to triple it, and they're ahead of those plans already. And our electricity prices keep going up. They're predicted to go up another 25% this year. How badly out of step is Australia with the international community when it comes to domestic nuclear energy?
In the same month that we banned nuclear energy in Australia, Italy banned nuclear in Italy. This month, Italy unbanned nuclear. So I'm hoping that sometime in the month's time, we will unban nuclear. When people say electricity is expensive, I always say we know from the best studies that the cost to the final consumer is lower with nuclear electricity. That is true all over the world. That's what we need in Australia.
Spot on, 80. Thanks for joining us.
Great. It's nice to talk to you.